Mr. Nides, Mr. Froman, Mr. Steve Ferris, Madame Anne Patterson, Crick Lebev, Gamal Muharram, U.S. delegation, AmCham members and staff, everybody good morning, and very warm welcome to Egypt, the new Egypt. I need to thank all of you for coming. Delighted to learn that all of you made it, because we had a strike in Egypt Air, and we're a bit concerned that many of you will not be able to, but I'm delighted to see the room is full. And others were flying other airlines that were known of strikes, but they also managed. So this is good news for us. And I promise that you will not regret coming to Egypt, because I'm sure you will learn a lot. I hope you will have the chance to visit Tahrir Square and to smell really the freedom that we have fought for, and a lot of people have died for. I still remember when I was in the US, when people were talking about, when it comes to election time, they put this ad, and the ad says, please go vote. Others in other countries die for what you have. So people died to have this. So as a prime minister, you have to take decisions every moment. So when I woke up in the morning, I thought, should I have breakfast at home or have breakfast with those guys here? And I made, as a happy married Egyptian individuals, I made the right choice to have breakfast at home, because I was not able to finish even my juice here. So the second thing is I thought about is what do I tell these guys? They come all the way from the US and they want to hear what the Prime Minister would say about Egypt. And I think I made the right decision again by saying I will speak my heart. It is always difficult to become the last speaker. I found this out when I became a minister, and I found it to be more difficult when I become the Prime Minister, because all the previous speakers usually give great speeches, and whatever needs to be said, they all said it. They said the right thing, that how close the relationship with the US is, what the Americans intend to do, and they lay out it very nicely, and also they mention some of the challenges that we're facing and what needs to be done with what we are doing. So this is another thing, but I guess I will overcome that by speaking my heart, because this is my heart, not theirs. So let me start by reading to you our vision. This is how we want to see the new Egypt. We want to see Egypt. When you become 50, you have to take off your glasses to be able to read. A knowledge-based economy with a stable and balanced social structure, maintaining its religious values and cultural heritage, ensuring the well-being and quality of life for all citizens, with a wider democratic political regime, and with an integrated ecological system conducive to sustainable development and active community participation. So this is our vision. This is what we want, how we want to see Egypt in the near future, I hope. So let me talk to you about the political situation. Where are we? Are we still, I think, everybody knows that we're still in the transitional period. But let me take you a little bit earlier. In January last year, we really had a great revolution. We were able to remove a tyrant, and everybody said it was a miracle. In 18 days, the whole regime collapsed. I take no credit for that. I was not here. I was in another country making history as well, in Tunisia. But I had the pleasure to witness both countries really taking their destiny in hand and make a change, historic change, Tunisia and Egypt. So after that, we really had a very positive environment that we missed it. It was a great opportunity. I came to Egypt. I flew from Tunis, Tunisia to Cairo. Mubarak left on Friday. I took the flight on Sunday. And the spirit was enormous. The positive spirit was enormous. Youngsters were going out in the street, cleaning the streets and painting the sidewalks and doing voluntary work. But unfortunately, somehow this thing was lost. And the transitional period turned out to be painful in many times, and bloody, and sometimes ugly. But, you know, thanks to God and His mercy in this country, and to the hard work of the Egyptian people, we have now, for the first time in modern history, a freely elected civilian president. This is, you know, and everybody, whether we voted, you guys voted for him or not, I think this is something that we all should be proud of, because we, you know, it was a decision that was not, we made it all that we would respect the box results, and we did that, and then we have an elected civilian president. Secondly, we have an accountable government. This is not a transitional government. We're here to stay, provided, of course, that we do a good job, and we're determined to do so, and my colleagues as well. We work 6.5 days a week. You know, I give those guys half Friday, half day off, but sometimes I don't do that. But we, you know, of course, this is not sustainable. We need to change that. But at least for the first few months, we need to work extra hours, and to give a message also to the others around us. This is the way to go. Hard work is the way to go, and working extra hours is the way to bring this country to a different level. But also, you know, the resolutions taken in August 12 by President Morsi made really a big difference to this country, and I guess it took us ahead 5 to 6 years, and that was good. You know, it shows many things. It shows that he is the president for this country, and it shows that our army is really a professional army, and they have done what they thought was right, what is right for this country. And when they were told that, you know, it is time to go, you know, the generals, they left, they went home, and the new generation come, and the country now, in my view, has ended what we call the confusion period. It's not a confusion. It's still, the transition period has not ended, but definitely, and from my position, I can speak this confidently, that say that the confusion period has ended. But we're yet, of course, to complete our transitional period. But at least we have a clear way ahead. We know we have constituent assembly working in our constitution. They don't like me to speak on their behalf because they work independent from the government, but I can judge them as an Egyptian, normal Egyptian citizen, that they are doing a marvelous job. When we watch them in TV, of course they don't agree in everything, but we know when they're working the way to go, they sometimes they agree, sometimes they disagree and dispute a few things. They put them aside, they move forward, they come back, they sleep on it. Anyway, they're making good progress. They promised to finish a first good draft by the end of this month, you know, open it for dialogue for a few weeks, and then we have hopefully a referendum on the constitution by the end of October. President Morsi promised 2 months from that we called for an election to have the parliament. So hopefully by the end of this year, beginning of the next year, we have we'll be in a position to say that we have completed our political system. Of course, we know that democracy means a lot more than that. It's not just, election is probably the easiest part of it, but to be transparent, to fight corruption, to the freedom of to appreciate and value the freedom of speech. Many things that we have to do to say that we have moved to become really a democratic country. But I guess we are determined to do so. As it was said many times with my other speakers, and it is very true that having a democratic election is something great, but that needs to be accompanied by economic growth and development. And this is really our task. And I'm delighted to see a lot of our supporters in the room and people traveling from abroad. So I guess from your side, the message has come. What I heard this morning from our speakers, from what I see, the people that came all the way to support and assist and make business. And this is really the key word. It has to be sustainable business. It has to be a win-win situation. We want you here. We want you to come here to invest and make profit. We want you to come here and enable you with an easy entry and easy exit if you choose to do so. It will not be like getting 5 pounds to get in a camel and 50 pounds to get off the camel. No, no. This is, if you go to the pyramids, you know what I mean. So what does the government intend to do in terms of the economic situation? The challenges are enormous, as you all know. Two things: we have the budget deficit, and we have, of course, we need to create jobs for the youngsters and to reduce the unemployment rate. So for the deficit, the recipe is that we need to do some structural reform to reduce our expenses and increase our revenue. The way we want, and of course, to do so, we need to, and this is what we are working on, and we're about to finish. We need to conclude a homegrown reform program. It is not the IMF program. It is not the World Bank, as people might think. It is a homegrown Egyptian program, and I mentioned that many times. This is something that we intend and we have to do, whether the IMF is there and whether the World Bank is and the ADB. No, this is our own program we have to do. So, and we're delighted to see partners to support us in this, because we definitely have to borrow some money to be able to fill in the deficit. It's not about getting money. It's about getting money and making sure that next year we get less money and so forth, and that our economy is growing. So in terms of deficit, we have a homegrown program that we're putting the final touches to it. We will negotiate it with the IMF. The IMF, I have no doubt, that will buy into that, because it is a good program. And then we hope that we finish this within the coming couple of months. Doing so will also provide some confidence from the outside world that those guys know what they are doing, and they are in the right track, and the economy is growing. And this is something that we know that we will do, but it is good to have the IMF declaring that, and our partners from the World Bank as well, so that will give a clear signal to the rest of the world that those guys know what they are doing. So this is for the government, but for you guys, this is the second part. We need you to come and invest big times in this country. And of course, as I mentioned, the only sustainable way to do so, that you come and make profit, and again, easy entry is easy exit. So it's our job to the job of this government, and is not really to operate, is not to build things, but of course to build the infrastructure and major infrastructures for development and provide services to our people. But we want to regulate. We want to move from exclusive economy to inclusive economy. We want to move from production economy to knowledge economy. So this is what we want to do. We want to provide an enabling environment for you to work here. We're looking, of course, one issue that it's a condition for investors, to Egyptians and non-Egyptians, to invest in this country, the issue of security. And for those of you that live in Egypt or have friends in Egypt, you can notice that there is tremendous improvement. Of course, if you ask any Egyptian individual in the street, we say, no, we still need more. But that's the nature of it, that people, the government will say that we're doing a good job, but the people will say, yes, but we want more, and we will do more. But I think there is a good trend and persistent effort to improve the security situation in the country, because without security, there's no point of investment. Also, we are determined, and we want to show cases for that, to resolve any disputes and outstanding issues, because this will bring immediate win to the economy and create immediate jobs, but will also give a clear message that those guys are serious about doing business. They are not into disputes and going to courts for long procedures. So we want to do that. Intellectual property rights, I'm always disturbed to see, copies of international brands sold on the sidewalks of the streets. This is something that we need to work on to ensure that this thing does not happen. We want to also ensure that our laborers get their rights, but also fulfill their duties. So we're working on this very hard, talking to labor unions, but not only talking to them, but doing a proper, working with them and getting a proper legislation in place that will balance both rights and duties for both sides, from the businessman as well as the laborers, and get really union representing the laborers of this country. We want to encourage ways and means for saving, so increase the saving rates in this. We want to a quick win for us, and I'm not revealing a secret here. I know that I talked to my colleague, the Japanese ambassador here in front of me for an hour, to convince him to lift this travel ban for the Japanese people to come to Egypt, because the tourism business is the low-hanging fruit that we can pick immediately. It is especially in the southern of Egypt and Cairo, because the infrastructure in terms of hotels and streets are there. The people are well trained and they are ready. We still have the Nile, and we have the monuments, and the good weather, especially in the winter time. And the Japanese and the Chinese and the Americans and the tourists from around the world really still wants to come to Egypt to see the great heritage of this country. So this is an area that hopefully, and I'm confident that we have. I see the Minister of Tourism is saying yes. We will make a quick win, hopefully within the coming months, because this will create immediate jobs. So this is another message probably you can take home when you go back, that this is a country that is worth visiting and it's safe. I'm sure the American Chamber colleagues here will take you around so you can give an eyewitness testimony on this. We also want to make sure that we do business a little bit different from what was done before. We want to make sure that that the wealth does not stay at the top, that will trickle down to the middle and the poor classes. The first thing I signed when I assumed office, the first thing I signed was the letter to the IMF. I should to tell the truth. I promised to speak my heart. The second thing was the loan from the World Bank, cash for work, in support of the poor. So supporting the poor, supporting the middle income class is extremely important. I come from the middle income class. My dad never owned a car. We stayed in 2-bedroom apartment, but we lived great life. Great life. We had a park to walk in. We can go and buy things cheap. We can take public transportation. We need to really support the middle class, which is almost crushed now or disappeared, to come back, because this is really the backbone of any country. This is where, of course, rich people are also have intellectual contribution, but usually the middle class that can bring more to the growth and to the prosperity of the country. So we want to make sure that this is happening, and I'm delighted to hear that our colleague from the US is going to support our efforts in developing the small and medium enterprises. Of course, this is still a bit challenging because many of them are informal economies, so we need to work with my colleague in the Minister of Industry and Foreign Trade that this is happening. We need to build the capacity. So we talked to this last week, that it is not just the finance, but also it comes with a capacity building component to ensure that those guys are eligible for finance and they are able to deliver on what they receive and get results. So I guess I will not be dwelling much longer, but I want you to hopefully, as I mentioned, for me, just your presence here, and you're coming from everywhere to this country with such a distinguished group. I'm sure all of you have other engagement, more to the growth and to the prosperity of the country. So we want to make sure that this is happening, and I'm delighted to hear that our colleague from the US is going to support our efforts in developing the small and medium enterprises. Of course, this is still a bit challenging because many of them are informal economies, so we need to work with my colleague in the Minister of Industry and Foreign Trade that this is happening. We need to build the capacity. So we talked to this last week, that it is not just the finance, but also it comes with a capacity building component to ensure that those guys are eligible for finance and they are able to deliver on what they receive and get results.